So now we're going to dress our person. Now, there's loads of different options about dressing, and it usually relates to time. The tape that we're using is, well, even the brown, we've got brown tape, we've got clear tape, and we have a range of colours. This is pretty much the range of colours you get. And the pink, now the pink has only been released this year. I'm waiting for them to release purple. I think you can get it in America, but you can't get it in England. And it's all the same type of tape. It's called polyurethane tape. And you can get it from packaging companies. Now, the fabric. This is an example of fabric to dress our person. Now, you can just cover the whole person in tape, and it's quite often, depending on time and how many children we've got, sometimes I'll say, right, we're just having one colour per person. We talk about how many colours people tend to wear. People only tend to wear 3 colours on average, so I tend to limit them to 3 colours, otherwise they use every colour and it just looks awful. So I always limit them to 3 colours. Sometimes I say they can use black and white on top of that. Sometimes I just say we can use 3 colours. Sometimes I say 1 and they all go, oh. But depending on what kind of work you're doing, particularly if it's group work, 1 colour is enough. But for this purpose, we can dress them any way we like. Now, this is fabric, and to make this fabric is just newspaper. But the first thing you have to do is cover your newspaper with tape. Now, you see me using my tape machine. Of course, when I work with children, they do not use my tape machine. And I do not like to have chairs in my room, and this is the reason why. It's because if without my tape machine, what we tend to do is we put our parcel tape on the side of the table. We talk about that torque position. We pull the tape and then you nick it with these blunt scissors. You get the whole load ready on the side of the table. But in this regard, what we do is we pull the tape over, and it's quite good for them to do this in pairs or as a group. It's really important that this piece of newspaper is attached to the table, otherwise you just can't do this. The paper moves around everywhere. So put over all the tape. Just try the scissors. Once the children master cutting this tape, it's very easy, but we have a lot of wasted tape because some children find it very hard to cut this tape. I always say to them, this is the hardest thing you'll find today is actually just cutting the tape, and it is true. So depending on what you're going to make, what clothes you're going to make or do with your fabric depends on how, whether you need to do both sides of your newspaper with tape. But for this case, I'm just going to do one side because for the clothes, I mean, if you look at this piece of work, you can see I've got lots of colour on the outside, but the back, because it's just been taped on one side, you can see the newspaper, which is fine, depends on what you want to do. Whereas on this one, as you can see, the cape is covered on both sides. So it's not lifting it off, turn it round, putting in the ends, and then deciding what colour you want it. Turn it back round, and then decide I'm going to do pink today. Go. Make sure it's all pressed down very firmly. Okay. So I'm going to leave that at that. I'm going to chop this piece off. I'm going to turn it round, just pull my ends in. Now, I'm going to use this piece as a skirt. Now, to make a skirt, it's quite complicated, but girls love to do this. Okay, so I've got a very long skinny piece. I've got my tape ready. It's ready on the side of the table. This is why I don't have chairs in the room, because they just interfere with the tape. And then I'm going to concertina. I'm going to do 3 at once. Fingers. And then I'm going to tape those down. Do it again. And again, down. Push it down. You have to be careful. This is if you do your tape too long, it gets all hooked up and it's dark. Sounds up. That's the first one. Okay. Now, I've got my skirt on and I've got it like this, and I'm thinking that it might have been an idea to add something else to it, but I'll show you how to do it. Join the seam up with the tape. And then I've the skirt. Right. Now I'm going to do the top with this other piece of newspaper fabric. And I'm going to use a different colour. No, I'm not. I'm going to use the same colour as my green. I'm going to do this bit green as again. So again, pull it out, take it to the table. So it's really important to keep it flat to the table so it doesn't get all rocked up. Pull that off. Right, now I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to use my wire with this piece. Now, wire is very useful. Now, this kind of wire is MIG wire, and you can get it in quite a lot of different thicknesses. This is quite thick, this piece of MIG wire. MIG wire, of course, is what you use for welding, and it tends to be copper, not always. The other kind of wire that you see me use is galvanized wire. Now, I get it from a fencing company, but you can get it from B&Q, at garden centres, lots of different places like that. And of course it comes in loads of different thicknesses. This is quite fine. Okay, but the MIG wire is great for fine detail work. Now I'm going to line that up with my tape, fold it over. And this is great because it gives a structure, and it can hold shape, which is really nice, which is what we want. So I'm going to use this piece, I think, on her head. I'm just going to wrap it up if I can. I'm going to put my tape on the shape that I'm trying to attach to. I know I'm going with it started off, and I'm going to wrap it around. I'm going to get some bits of tape ready, I think. Take it as I go. It's not holding. And the wire is great because it gives a structure. That otherwise you wouldn't get. So you can get a nice shape from in there. Holds it. Okay, and then finally, so I'm going to just adjust this so you can still see her face. I'm going to give her a top in a minute. There we go. See her face now. Okay, so finally I'm going to just give her a top, which I'm going to do again. Now this, I'm just going to add it on to her body, which is the simplest way of putting tape on. But I'm going to do it long ways. I'm not going round and round. I'm going long ways with my tape. There's a much better coverage. And down. I've seen some children actually who just work on the front, and then I say to them, well, what about the back? And they go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. They forget that they're working on a 3D piece of work. And of course little pieces. Okay, and then we have our person.